Chapter 5 Heart to Heart. After last night, even after cuddling Blondie, Inari still felt haggard after a restless night. And knowing she was going to see her monastic brother and Vixie privately, she had decided to wear something other than her normal tight and revealing clothes. But she was hard-pressed to find something in her walk-in closet that didn't reveal the shape of every nook and cranny of her figure. Except for one thing. That thing was her ceremonial garb she would wear performing her duties as image of Inari. So she put it on even though it was heavy, hot, and not very comfortable. She then prepared a few things, and had Blondie go along with her, as well as a few no Kitsune protogens, if Gumiho ever decided to show up, knowing that Victor's pure heart would be a delicacy for that vile creature. Inari and Blondie then made their way to Todd and Vixie's den on the edge of the city and politely rang the doorbell. Vixie then opened the door, dressed in her plain cotton robes and veil, and answered, "You're dressed fancier than usual. What's the occasion?" Inari then looked at Vixie in her iridescent violet eyes and answered, "The occasion is I'm seeing my brother whom I have not seen for a long time. And you're one to talk about fashion, dressed in that plain cotton robe as my chief executor. You may be an effective executor, but your fashion sense seems lacking." Vixie then rolled her eyes and led Inari and Blondie inside. And inside the den was the sweet aroma of the incense burner after Todd, Vixie, Dixie, and Victor all finished their morning prayer roll together. However, when Inari looked at the icon corner, she didn't feel anything until she noticed the statue of Moshi the Blacktail and sneered at the sight of it. She also looked upon Vixie's Tanuki servant Dixie with contempt. Inari then thought to herself, "How can you have any respect for that Tanuki that raided our clan and killed our people? If anything, Moshi was a no Kitsune of no Kitsunes like Gumiho, and deserved it when Sozen Yago thrust his katana through him. I don't care if he's changed his ways after joining my brother's cult. Still baffles me how Yago believed he killed someone innocent, and having that coon justly punished." Inari then took a seat at the round table lit under the warm glow of an incandescent lamp. Victor then sat down across from her, along with Todd and Vixie, and Dixie stood off in the corner, not wanting to have anything to do with Inari. Then Blondie tried to flirt with Dixie, but immediately rejected. Then Inari said to Vixie, "Thank you for allowing me into your den on such a short notice. It's important enough where I can't wait to talk about this at a later time." Vixie then curiously asked, "And what is that thing?" Inari then straightened her posture. "It's about the capture and/or termination of Gumiho, and now we have some information who might be behind putting the dark magic curse over our clan. We know one of them is Gumiho, but we still don't know who else is behind it. This is because there are other instances of dark magic that don't just match Gumiho's magical energy signature and habits." Vixie then looked like Inari just told a joke. "And who exactly are you going to send after Gumiho? Yako is dead." However, Inari remained tranquil and in a confident posture. "I'm sending his 10-year replacement, Blondie. He's proven himself capable enough, although he will need help from my no Kitsune protogens. I'll fill him in on the details when it's time. But on an equally important note, we still don't know what has happened to the Keys of Prosperity ever since they were stolen without a trace. And without those, I cannot perform the ritual duty as image of Inari to bring prosperity to the clan. So I'm expecting a coming famine if we don't prepare now. Until the keys are recovered, we may, for the first time in centuries, have to rely on more than just ourselves and need to find a way to prepare our subjects for the coming economic depression that's likely to come." Dixie then laughed at Inari and said, "Despite having all the money in the world, you're still dirt Poor. Inari then glared at Vixie with her 7 tails and 3 fake tails sparkling cyan embers. Inari then said to Dixie, "Coon, did I give you permission to speak to me?" But Dixie remained unfazed. "I don't need your permission to speak to you, and I have the right to talk to you in any way I see fit." Victor then interjected, "Inari, Dixie, that's enough." The two then stopped before they could start a fight as Victor asked Inari, "Just out of curiosity, do you know how exactly the keys of prosperity work?" Inari then answered, "They channel the power of the sacrifices to Okami Inari to feed the land." "They don't." Inari then looked confused. "What do you mean they don't? Haven't you seen the ritual a million times when our mother did it, and the prosperity that would come to our land?" Victor then crossed his snow-white furry arms while glaring at his sister with his piercing fluorescent cyan eyes. "I know they don't because the keys are powered by dark magic." Inari then chuckled, not taking her brother's words seriously. "And how could prosperity be caused by dark magic? Dark magic only destroys its user and those around them. And such things would not bring prosperity, because dark magic doesn't create anything, but only acts as a parasite on what's good." "That's because it's not prosperity. It's avarice. Tell me, have you ever experienced something like an increased hunger for more and more things and becoming less satisfied with what you have after using the keys?" "Kind of. Why? Isn't it a good thing to want more and increase production to increase the economy?" "That's the thing. You just proved what the keys really are." Inari then tilted her head with one fox ear lowered and the other upright. "Then tell me what you really mean, because in simple terms, I am honestly confused." "The keys don't bring prosperity. They bring hunger for more and more things and eat away at gratitude and contentment. And not only that, but they also destroy humility, the element of the 8th tail, and purity, the 9th tail. Have you not seen how much debauchery and arrogance has increased since using the keys of prosperity in recent centuries?" "Kind of. Is that a problem?" "That is a very big problem. Do you remember our youth, when we were taught our clan's values of honor, sincerity, and purity? Now those things have become virtually unrecognizable in our day and age, except in those who are old enough to remember. Those are good things that the keys of prosperity are a parasite to. And if not that, then other people." Inari then remained silent for a moment, contemplating what she had just heard, and had done for centuries, and remembered how she changed after using the keys of prosperity for so many years. She then muttered as her voice shook, "Dear Inari, was I using dark magic for so many centuries? What have I done?" Victor then looked at Inari forgivingly. "Sister, it's not too late. After we stop Gumiho, we need to find the keys of prosperity and destroy them. It's not your fault for not knowing the true origins lost to time. And now that dark magic is abundant in the clan, now I know they aren't just mere idols, but dark magic artifacts." Dixie then interjected, "Then what are we waiting for? Give me a hammer and I'll smash them into dust and light them on fire." Inari then lifted her snoot at Dixie and said, "It's not that simple, you stupid coon. These types of artifacts can only be destroyed in the fires that forge them. And as image of Inari, it's my purpose and duty to destroy them, not you. I will not let them harm my subjects any further, even if they are passed down in my family for 4,000 years. Isis in Gumiho. In the darkness of a nightmare projection, the Dark Mage Isis appeared to Gumiho and said, "Thank you once again for securing the keys of prosperity. These will make a fine addition to my collection, and you will be rewarded handsomely." Gumiho then prostrated before Isis, What is your bidding, my master? Isis then answered, There's a certain Kitsune who has been quite troublesome. He's consistently thwarted my plans for Princess Titania, and his pure heart and liver will make a fine delicacy for your refined taste. Gumiho then licked her blood-stained lips and asked, A pure heart? I do not need a bribe to fulfill that request, especially after eating the hearts and livers of kitsunes dead inside from avarice. They're so disgusting I've begun to prefer the hearts and livers of live tanukis. Just know that Friar Victor Kitsune will be hard to seduce. Do not rely on your seduction to trap him, because his ethereal magic will see right through it. Also, be aware that he is borderline immune to dark magic, so you'll need to rely on something other than dark magic to trap him. I understand. No delicacy like Friar Victor's heart and liver will be free, and I will pay all my effort to taste it. A heart-to-heart. After discovering that the keys of prosperity were empowered through dark magic, Inari had her brother join her in a private room. As she broke down in tears, she then struggled to speak as she muttered, I can't believe I was using dark magic this whole time. I never wanted this for my subjects. Prosperity? At that price? However, rather than speak, Victor simply continued to listen to his sister. Inari then continued, I never wanted to hurt my subjects. Now I've hurt them in ways I can never undo. I failed as image of Inari and have shown myself to be imperfect when I'm supposed to be perfect. And now, sooner or later, everyone is going to know I'm a failure that never deserved to be image of Inari. I'm scared. I'm scared because I killed the clan's future, now never have peace again. I can't believe I was living a lie for so long, believing I brought prosperity to the clan, when all I brought them was spiritual death to our people. And now I can't even see the honor, sincerity, nor purity within myself anymore. Please. I don't know what to do anymore. Now that it's all certain the clan will know I'm a failure. Inari then continued to cry as her cheeks became stained with her own tears. Inari then whispered, I just need someone to hold me. Victor then gently held on to his sister and let her cry until there was no more tears left. Inari then said, I know what I have to do, but I can't do it by myself. Not only the clan needs you, but I need you. I take back all those mean things I said to you. Victor then said calmly, I have already forgiven you, and I'll be by your side, even unto the end of the age. Did you know this? Keys of prosperity. This is a reference to the Kitsune folklore, with them often having barn keys in their mouth, as a symbol of prosperity. This was because kitsunes in folklore were associated with Inari, who was the patron of agriculture and material prosperity. However, in the context of the Dark Mage, there's more built on that original idea. Gumiho and vampires. In Korean folklore, the Gumiho/Kumiho is a nine-tailed fox that usually appears as a beautiful woman who seduces young men to get them alone. Then the Gumiho eats their liver and or heart, which feeds their magical power similar to vampires. So it would make sense that Gumiho in the Dark Mage would be a user of dark magic. and because dark magic is parasitic by nature, it has to feed on something good lest it destroy itself. Another world's fairy tale lore about protogens. Although protogens are the creation of cedar andrews and an open species, their lore differs in this series. We're not talking about primordial protogens created before the in-universe written history. Most protogens are augmented male creatures. This simple comes down to bodily waste management and where reproductive organs are located because of how the augmentation is mounted to the organic body parts. Men don't have breasts, so the chest plate that connects to the upper torso and connects to the upper limbs is relatively easy to mount to reinforce bone structure, where this would not be possible on women without removing their breasts or modifying the chest plate to have the front section removable for feeding infants, and mounted differently to the reinforced skeleton. Although on male protogens, the legs and body waste management system is relatively simple, involving only a catheter and a hatch for solid waste. However, for female protogens, this has to be completely redesigned so that they can still give birth without damaging the baby, with this redesign being relatively weaker on the lower section of female protogens than on the male protogen. As such, in order to make the female protogen lower section as strong as the male protogen, it would involve removing her reproductive system, which would not improve anything because it would create hormonal imbalance issues and health problems for organic parts of the female protogen. So, female protogens are incredibly rare.